Hello to you, my friends. This is Chaplain Charles Riffey again, here with you at Massey Cancer Center and VCU Health, taking part in another one of our survivorship series talks. Last month, we discussed the benefit, the mental, the spiritual, and the bodily benefit from being able to process our thoughts through the pathway of journaling. And this month, we're going to be continuing with the second part on journaling by focusing on sort of the benefits and the how-tos of being able to look back at what has been done at previous times. If you've found a particular outlet that was helping you through a particular time to get your thoughts down about what is occurring, to be able to provide you with a sense of comfort moving forward, something, especially in times of transition, or just an outlet to be able to take a break from all of the different things, the joys and the stressors that we all encounter in different parts of our life. So I'm going to share my screen with you and we're going to take a look and get started. Here we go. In today's talk, which again is going to be brief like the previous one, we're going to be going through all of the particular slides that we did before, such as gratitude journaling or art journaling. We're going to be going over all of those particular outlets that we did in the previous month, which you should be able to see through our YouTube page or Facebook Live, the Facebook page for Massey Cancer Center. What we're doing when we look back at past work is an opportunity to look at ourselves, not where we are currently, although it could be a lot like where we were. It's taking a look back at how we managed, or what thoughts occurred, or what feelings surfaced whenever we were encountering different aspects, either maybe past treatment or transitioning from treatment into a life of resiliency and survivorship. Things could have changed with scheduling or your job or your support networks, but being able to look at creative outlets to get those thoughts on paper was a way that could also produce not only sort of de-stressing pathways, but also insight into the behaviors that we have, or the feelings and the whys behind them. So we're going to be taking a look at different approaches. Short-term journaling, it's the ability to take a look back either a week or two before and just sort of see where you are, how things have changed, if they haven't changed, what things helped you get through something difficult. Can you utilize that now or tweak it moving forward? And then there's sort of long-term connections. Lord knows I've looked at some of my past journals. I even found one where I had entries from when I was in 5th grade. And at the beginning, I was a little embarrassed by what I had thought and what I wrote, but then I was also given some time, a little proud that I had the courage to actually think those things and trust that I could get them out and make space for them, even though I have an adult mind now and no longer sort of the child's mind. It sort of brought a sense of joy too. So there are different ways of looking back, especially if this is a newer practice. Attitude is very important. Whenever you're reading, you are reading from your former self. It's important to be compassionate and start from that discussion of compassion. You're not who you were, although who you were is not separated from who you are and are becoming. It's very important to hold on to those two things, past and present, as you await the future that is coming. I do wish to take some advice from different psychologists that have talked about journaling in their care with patients. They always talk about how it can be a help in times of trauma. Now, trauma does not necessarily mean something that has occurred in a textbook case. Trauma could be something that is not like a motor vehicle collision. It could be something like a change in relationship that has dramatically altered your structures and supports. If it brings on ideas that can be very stressful, it is important when looking back that you have to sort of take a look at the motivations behind that reflection. There are many people that write journals and they promise to never look at them no matter what. And if that's you and it's just some tool that helps you get through the processes of the day, then that's the benefit there. But if you are looking back to answer the question why, and if you know that it's going to be a very hard space that you're entering, do you have people that you know you can trust to go to either partner with you during that time of reflection? And if there is that question of what you should do, how is it then that we reach out to those individuals? A lot of them being the space needed to find a professional that works with trauma all the time. Could be a licensed clinical social worker, a psychologist, psychiatrist, a licensed professional counselor, spiritual care professional if they deal with areas of trauma. So the first topic that we discussed in the past was stream of consciousness writing. This is like free writing. I'm going to open up the page. I'm going to give myself 5 minutes, and all I want to do is focus then on this is what's coming up for me. It's like, oh man, I can't believe that I ate that for breakfast. And you know what? Ooh, shiny red ball. I'm joking when I say that, but the idea is that there are no limits. There aren't necessarily any prompts as to what you're writing. So being able to take a look back at what has been written, if you are doing a free writing journal, there are ways to see patterns in what has written and just to see where your mind goes at particular moments of time. It could be during a stressful event, it could be a certain time of day, it could be during a certain type of treatment or a transition in life. So asking ourselves a couple of questions. When I'm reading something, am I hearing repetitions like, I just don't know, I just don't know? Well, then that could have been a time that's saying that, maybe the reason I was stressed is because there was a lot of uncertainty going on right now, or I'm just so hopeful for, or I'm just so thankful for. You know, what are those things, those people, that mode of being that provided that space of not only positivity, but connectivity? So what shifts are occurring during your reading? Do you see emotions shifting? Do you see circumstances shifting? Do you see thoughts and focus of where your energy is that shifting? And what patterns can you find to help you in the now? If you find yourself feeling joyful and you read something sorrowful, it is not something to dismiss. It could be something very important as just acknowledging that I know now what it looks like or feels like when I'm sorrowful. If I feel that feeling again, maybe I can go back to this and see what strength from that particular stance pulled me forward out to where I currently am. So where are you now? Being able to take a look back helps you to focus on what priorities matter to you most in the present. The next one is art journaling. It's a little harder to be able to sort of contextually look back, and other than just simply taking joy in what you were able to create, again, if you're entering from a space of compassion. But typically you're using different artistic forms. Ones that I think of is like drawing pictures, making something that transitions onto two-dimensional space. And through these creative expressions, though, you can pull out things of meaning. You might have different objects that appear time and time again. So being able to take a look at those things, maybe your focus is on, if it's garden work, is that a hobby of yours that you're currently able to partake in? If you were drawing about bucket list items, places that I want to visit, like I'm going to be able to draw, as you see from this picture, some great architecture that you could find in Europe. Lord knows I can't draw that well. I'm more of a paint by numbers kind of guy. But you can take a look at different colors that are utilized, themes that are utilized, textures. Is it light? Is it soft? Is it heavy? Is it intricate? Is it simple? And what emotions does it evoke? Can you recall how you were feeling when that was taking place? Do you feel that way now? Or do you see patterns of hardness moving to soft space? And then by reflecting, you might be able to build connections on how to not only just maintain where you are, that peace, but knowing tools that are necessary to help you find peace in the midst of hard space. So looking back at journal entries can be helpful. The reading journal or the hobby journal, the idea again being I'm a science fiction guy. When I'm not reading about spiritual care or healthcare related things, I typically go for something that's going to be a satire of what's going on through, mythical leaps and technological bounds that are created by somebody else completely. It helps me. But in a reading journal, you might find that your focus is on completely specific things based on what you were experiencing as either a patient or a caregiver, or now as a survivor. It could have been all healthcare related. Your focus was completely hyper focused on diet, on things that helped you in your faith, things that helped you in meditative space, or knowing every single thing that there could possibly be to know about the biological and medical advances of treatment when one is facing a journey in cancer. And then you could see those things shifting. What were the things that brought 5 stars? Was it the more logical, technical stuff? Was it more the in-depth emotional connection to your body during those times? Do you see those topics changing from medical journals to science fiction to rom-coms and whatnot? Being able to see what you focused on and what meaning you found to be important can transfer forward. Especially when you feel like you're losing your connection to your understanding of what had occurred, or to find similar joy now that your focus is on completely different. There are tools and connectors there, despite the topic, that can help you to find fulfillment. And I'll give an example. I love to hike. I don't do it enough. When I was in seminary in Connecticut, as opposed to growing up in West Virginia, I didn't really hike much. I was in a more urban setting. Although I did walk everywhere, I didn't have the mountains readily available to me. And I was called on that by one of my spiritual care advisors. And he said, well, you could go hiking if you really wanted to. What is it about hiking that brings you a sense of joy and peace? And then we started talking about it. But then I found that, well, where do you find that elsewhere? Hence the shift. I love to cook. At that time, I was new to it. And I found that when I was doing prep work for food, I had that same ultra focused mindset, and also mindfulness about the task, where all of the noise in the background just sort of fell away. So when I was doing prep work, I found a sense of peace and joy and accomplishment. You can find that with your reading journal too. List journaling. I don't know if you find joy or stress by taking a look at your schedules, but a lot of list journaling, you build sort of daily schedules, weekly schedules into them. You can as one way of doing it. And just being able to reflect on where you had to put your time and where you would want to put your time. Sometimes it's a necessity that your schedule was dictated to you, and sometimes it was, where do you and what do you really create space for? And as transitions change, whether it's a job or treatment or relationship, needs, as it changes for the body, for the mind, for the heart, what things do you see changing? How are you feeling about that? Maybe if you look at the past, you can see how you were able to get through in ways that were life-giving. And then lastly, gratitude journal, as always, big proponent of that. And we do have a gratitude journal, which is a small sort of like daily quote and a small paragraph size to just write something that you're grateful for. It is something to continue if you picked it up in the past, especially if you were a patient at Massey or a family member or friend at Massey. You can do this without having to have that little booklet in hand. What things brought gratitude? And there might be common themes, just like in the beginning. Were they people? Were they small gestures? Was it news of a break? Was it news of effective treatment? Was it news of being able to say, I can finally eat a salad? It doesn't have to be cooked all the way through. My provider finally said, yay, I can do this thing. Or was it the opportunity to finally go see a movie in a movie theater and you hadn't been able to do so for years? A lot of patients will tell me these small things that just not only make their day, but it helps settle their feet onto firm and loving and safe and comforting ground. So being able to take a look back, how were these things of gratitude engaged to where you were, if you can reflect, then within your treatment or within your journey of survivorship. Um, Attitudes of gratitude may change based on the circumstances. They may have similar themes, they may have different themes, but again, looking back can provide you with some tools of, I'm in a similar situation, although it's different. I am connected to my past, although I'm different. What things helped me to see the world through a different lens than often what we might hear in the news, or often what we might feel when we just don't feel very good. There are ways to reconnect by looking to the past and then forging pathways toward the future. So again, these are just similar. Let me get out of here real quick. I've stopped sharing, and you get to see my bright, shining forehead and my smiling face again. As we move forward, journaling, there are thousands of different types of doing it, but the impact of actually doing it can be helpful moving forward through all aspects of life. But there's also benefit of being able to sort of stop and take a look back. If you do a gratitude journal, it may interest you then to move to a free thought journal, and or comparing the two of your narrative based on your gratitudes, and see if they sync, or see if there's disparity, what's going on, and can you hold in tension those things that cause either pain, and then the strength that got us through, the positivity or the hard space. It's a balance between those in everything that we do, especially when we read back. You know that whenever you look back in the past, there are moments that brought you both tears of laughter and tears of sorrow. It is a reality of the life that we've lived. But being able to share in that space and to acknowledge it and to hold on to it can provide a lot of good healing and a lot of good strength moving forward. So I hope this is helpful for you all. Again, I'm Charles Riffey. I'm one of the staff chaplains here at VCU Health, working primarily with Massey Cancer Center. If this has been helpful to you, I hope that you will like and share this link and video to others that you've known on your journey that might also benefit by simply talking about the benefits of journaling or the benefits of reflection in journaling. And until next month, I pray you are well and may you be blessed. Thank you very much for joining us.